Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am excited to be sharing with you some card making hacks using my Cameo Silhouette and some digital stamps. And I'm also going to be showing you how to create some custom sentiments for your cards. This is the digital image I'm going to be using today. It is from the Not Too Shabby shop and it's called Snow Happy, and we'll be creating 3 cards today. So let's jump into the Silhouette Design Studio. First, I'm going to draw out a rectangle, and then I'll size that to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then that is the perfect size for my card front. Now I'm going to copy and paste my digital stamp that I purchased and downloaded from the Not Too Shabby shop, and then I can resize this image so that it fits right inside that panel, and I know it's going to be the perfect size for my card front. I'm going to click on that image once I have it sized, and then I'm going to go over to the send button. Now you can see there's a red square around that. I don't want that, so I click it and then click no cut. So now it's only going to cut that outer rectangle around the snowman, my card front panel. I'm going to turn on the registration marks for print and cut, and then I am going to duplicate this image and turn it on its side, so when I print and cut I will actually have 2 of these to work with. And now I'm going to create a custom sentiment. So I click the letter A over on the left hand side, and then I was able to start typing, and my sentiment says, "Your sweetness warms my heart." Now I'm going to change the color of this. So I'm highlighting that whole piece, clicking on the little line panel and then the colored lines, and then I can change the lines to black, and then I can click on the paint palette and fill those letters with black. Next, I'm going to change the font to Oatmeal Raisin Cookie, which is one I purchased from the Silhouette Design Studio. I'm going to size this down so that it fits on my card front. I want it to be able to fit all the way across the long way, so not a stacked sentiment. And using this panel that I know is going to be the exact size of my card helps me. I also went to my send button and made sure that was selected as no cut. And then I'm going to trace this. So when you push that little, it's like a butterfly image, and then you select it, you can then choose to trace the outer edge. Then I'm going to click on that outline and offset it. And now you can see I have a cut line all the way around this that will die cut out my sentiment. Just like that. And then you want to make sure and delete that trace line, and then I grouped them together so I could move it, and I'm going to duplicate this just to fill in this space. So I am going to have extra sentiments, but I might as well use up that extra space. I duplicated it one more time because I want to show you how to make a white sentiment with a black background. So I'm going to ungroup those, and I'm going to change the line and the fill of my words to white, and then I'm going to click on that outer outline and fill that with black. Then I right click on the black and send it to the back, and then I can regroup those together, and now I have a white on black sentiment. I will fill the page with those as well, and then I'm going to just make sure before I print this that I have the cut lines where I want, and nothing's going to cut out that should only be printed. Once I do that, I can send that to my printer, and when it prints out, it looks like this. You can see it has the registration marks in the top 2 corners and the bottom left corner. I'll stick that to my Cameo Silhouette mat, load it into my Silhouette, and then I'm going to adjust my cut settings. I like my blade to be at a depth of 7, and then the force to be at 23. Then I'll push send, and that will cut out. I thought you might like to see this. It's reading those registration marks, and then it's going to go ahead and do all of the cut lines that I designed for this project. It will even cut around all the words. So it's very helpful, and it's a fun way to design cards. These are very simple tips and tricks you can use in your card making with digital stamps. Of course, you could do these same things other ways, but I wanted to share with you how I like to use my Silhouette. So there I am removing all of those pieces, and they're ready to go for making a card. Look at my 2 sentiments there in white and black. Love it. All right, so now I wanted to show you my little hack for making a mask. So I'm just going to copy this image, my digital stamp, and I'm going to open up a new page and paste that into place so that I know this is the exact size of the one I already print and cut. I am going to my trace panel, I'm selecting that image and tracing the outer edge. Now it's only a matter of erasing the lines we don't need because there's some inner cut lines on this, and what I like to do is just enlarge it so I can see those, and then I can ungroup this and click away those ones I don't want. Now for this one there happened to be a bunch of tiny little dots, so what I did is I moved the largest part of the image down and just selected all those and deleted them. But some of these are going to need to be erased, so I'm going to my eraser and then I can just erase it like you would with an eraser. It's really quite simple. Some of them in the tighter areas you do need to enlarge that, and then you can come in and erase them, because like this inner part of his branchy arm, we definitely do not need that cut away. So I'm just erasing that line, and then I will have the outline that I need. There are also some other lines at the bottom that I need, and I will erase those. And then also if I erase any gaps, or if there's any gaps left behind, you can use the line tool to draw them back in. So I'm going to enlarge this again so you can see how I'm getting in there where it's really tight and close together and erasing, but there's also a gap between the ground and the body of the snowman. Also, if you erase something you don't want, just click undo and you can redo it, which is what I'm doing. So you can see there on the left, between the ground and the snowman, there's a gap. So I'm clicking on my line image and I'm just going to draw that line in, and then I'll have two separate lines because I have the outline of the snowman and the outline, or the line that I just drew. So once I get all the lines drawn in that I want, I can group them together so it cuts as one. Also, I need to create a bottom for this because it's going to cut a line into my paper, but it's not going to cut out a shape that I can peel off. So I just squared that up with some more lines and grouped that again. And now I have a piece that I can pick up and peel off my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and change my paper to be copy paper, and then that will have a different setting for my blade, so I need to adjust the depth of my blade manually, and then I can go ahead and load my copy paper and run this through. Now some of these were just so super skinny that I didn't get the side with the bird and his arm, but I was able to save the little ornament. So I'm going to just show you some other little tips and tricks that I used because I didn't have a mask for that area. And now I'm applying two-way liquid glue to the back of this. It's a kind of glue that's very liquidy, but you let it dry and it becomes tacky and perfect for a mask. So once that's dry, you can see I'll just apply that right over my printed out image. And then I'll add that tiny little bulb on the right-hand side. I just need the round part, so I'll stick that down. And then I'm going to go over this with my black soot Distress Oxide ink to create a night sky. I don't know why, but I just thought a night sky would be really fun. And I'm trying to, excuse me, avoid the area of the little bird with my black soot so that it does not get too much ink on it. I do get a little bit on there, but I am going to try to remove that. So now I'm going to spritz that background now that it's complete with some water, because I am creating a snowy scene, so that will look really good in the background of my snowy scene. I'm going to dry that really well, because you do not want to remove a mask when it's wet. So using the heat tool helps dry the paper as well as the mask, and then I can peel everything off. Then I'm going to bring in my sanding eraser because my mask didn't go all the way to the edge of my paper, and I did get a little black soot down on the white part where I didn't want it, and the sanding eraser did an amazing job taking that away for me. And then I'm going to bring in my aqua painting style brush and paint over this bird. It's not going to remove all of the Distress Oxide ink there, but it does lighten it because we're oxidizing that color. And then I just decided the best way to handle it was to color this bird a dark color. So I brought in B99 and the other one that goes with it that I have. I just got that marker, so I'm not sure the number. for Christmas. So it is brand new. All right, so then I'm going to color the rest of this image in. I'm using B01 and B00 for my snowman. I had to use the chisel tip, you guys, because I use that marker so much. The other end is drying up, so time for a refill. It's all fun and games buying new COPIC markers until you realize I should have bought a refill instead. All right, so I'm coloring in my little donuts. Isn't he so cute holding these sweet treats? First of all, you should know I love little critters and I love food. So those are my stamps I always gravitate to, little critters and food images. So the snowman with the bird and the donuts and the cocoa. Yeah, I'm in love with it. So cute. So I'm coloring one donut with some pink frosting and the other with some red because I wanted these cards to have a wintry Valentine's feel to them and not Christmas. I love that you can take your wintry images and use them for Christmas or for after and use them for winter and Valentine's. Now these little bulbs, I wanted them to be like a little treat for the birds. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about, but when I taught preschool, we would take pine cones and cover them with like peanut butter and then stick bird seed to them and hang them on the trees for the birds. I'm not even sure that birds can eat peanut butter now, and you use something else like suet or lard or something. So anyways, let's just say that it's that and it's for the birds and they have a little treat too. And then I'm going to color in his hat using some cool grays for the white part. And then I'm going to have the pink on the scarf. So I'm just coloring that in. My darkest color there is R35. I'm using that for all the shadows. And then I will blend that out with my mid-tone, which is R43. This is another one I got for Christmas. I got like 7 new markers for Christmas for me and my daughter because she illustrates, does drawing, and she likes to use Copics for coloring them in. So it was a shared present. And then R32 for my lightest color on the scarf. I'm coloring in his little coal buttons with some cool gray and then his little carrot nose. Isn't he cute? Yeah, I love the little cocoa down here too. It could be coffee. It has a lot of whipped cream. So either way, it's going to be yummy. So now I'm coloring the mug red. So I'm playing with my pinks and my reds and having those be the main colors for this card. And then the whipped cream has a little heart on it. I love that. Anything that has a little heart, you could just turn it into a Valentine's project, right? Yeah. So I colored that red as well, and then some cool gray highlights to the whipped cream on that. I wanted different highlights for the whipped cream versus the snow, which is why I used the B00 markers for the snow and then the cool grays for like the pom-pom and the whipped cream, so they would stand out from each other. And now I'm using some warm gray markers to fill in any areas that the mask did not, or it covered that needed to be black. So kind of around the images and then in between the little branches. And then I'm going to highlight everything with white gel pen. You know I love my white gel pen. It just brings everything to life. It's my favorite part of making cards, adding the white highlights. I'm weird, I know. It's what makes me happy. It just transforms the image. So I did a lot of that, highlights everywhere, because that's my thing. And here you can see all the markers I used because I wasn't very good at telling you what colors I was coloring with as we were chatting. I get to chatting sometimes and forget what I'm supposed to be telling you. Sorry about that. I am now splattering this with some white acrylic paint that's watered down just a bit, and I'm using my very favorite brush. It has like a scraggly end. I'm sure there's a technical name for it. If I was into painting, I would know, but I don't. So I call it my scraggly brush, and I'll tell you, I had a hard time going to sleep last night because I was really worried that I left it in my jar of water overnight and it was going to ruin it. Anyway, I am mounting this to my card panel, or my card base, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it started out as 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I scored it at 4 1/4 for a side folding card. And then I adhered my sentiment with a foam strip as well. Your sweetness warms my heart. Okay, let's move on to card number 2 and some more Silhouette Cameo hacks. So I used that same image and I scooted it down on my panel, and then I'm going to open up some images that I already purchased and downloaded from the Silhouette store. I've had my Silhouette for a really long time, so yes, I do have a lot of purchased images that I've used over the years. And now I'm going to ungroup these after I size them down, and I'm going to put these right on my panel. So now this rectangle is going to cut out, and it's also going to cut out these snowflakes. And I'm just going to use that tool to rotate them so they're a little bit more askew than perfectly straight. And now I'm going to hand draw some snow. Now, yes, these are giant wonky circles, massive, but it's easier for me to draw them large and then size them down. Now, if I didn't get it closed, I just deleted it and made another one. I like wonky size, large clumps of snow, and I can size these down, duplicate them, rotate them, and make a very snowy scene all around the snowman and those cute little snowflakes. So that's what I'm going to do. I've greatly sped this up, but it's really fairly simple to do, and it just fills in the scene, and it makes for such a cute little background. So this is going to be an open area cut away from my card. So once I have all those there, I grouped that, and then I turned on my registration lines, and I'm going to duplicate that. So I have two, and now I'm going to create a new sentiment. So I have drawn out a rectangle. I'm going to fill that with a black, and then I'm going to type Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm going to have that be a white sentiment to go on top of this black rectangle, and I am going to have it in that same font that I used before, which is the Oatmeal Raisin Cookie that I got from the Silhouette Design Store. You can also use their fonts to do vinyl if you're into doing vinyl. I really want to dip my toe. I guess I've already dipped my toe in vinyl, but I haven't like really gone for it, and I'm kind of feeling the desire to do some maybe home decor with some vinyl. So I don't know, watch for that. Maybe I'll get crazy and do that. So I'm just saving this. I wanted to show you that you can click File, Save, and save it to your library. So if you wanted to use this again, you totally could and have it ready to go after all your hard work. So I sent that to my printer, and once it printed out, I sent it to my Silhouette, and these are the results. I also did some other sentiments that I will use on these cards. No one is as sweet as you, and thank you so much. Now I thought you would like to see how I colored this image for my second card. I am giving this little snowman a polka dot scarf, and I thought it turned out so cute. I used my lightest pink and then my mid-tone just to add a little shadow, and then a cool gray to go around the edge to give it some depth. And then of course, once that is all colored, I am going to add some white gel pen, and you can see on the little ornaments I did hearts and left them white, and I thought they turned out really cute, and a turquoise cup. Now for this one, I'm using Perfect Pearls, which my daughter got me for Christmas. I had mentioned one time at the craft store, like, oh, I could really use some Perfect Pearls. I have never used them before. I think they're awesome. So I made snow with them on this card, and then I'm going to pop this up with a bunch of foam squares onto a light blue piece of cardstock. And I love the dimension that you get when you pop things up like this, like a window. It's just such a cool effect. And then I'll put that whole thing down on a white card base. And then I have I love you so much, another sentiment I created. And those snowflakes that I cut out of my card front are also useful for adding as an accent. I took my warm gray number 8 marker to color the edge of this die cut sentiment there so it didn't have any white showing, and then I added the Happy Valentine's Day to the inside of my card. Now let's bring in both cards so you can see them side by side, and once I did this I realized I needed to do a couple things. Let's add a sentiment. Thank you so much to the inside of the first card, and then the branches weren't showing up very well, so I brought in a black gel pen and just kind of outlined those and traced them so that they did show up, and I was much happier with that look. And then once the video stopped, I couldn't stop. I had to make one more card, so I thought I would show it to you. I've got some red velvet donuts there and a little cardinal, and I just kept it all red and pink, and I did color the sky with my Copic markers and then splattered it with white paint. And I just had so much fun making these cards, and I did print out extras so I can easily make these cards or some like it anytime I want to. They're ready to go. So I hope that you have enjoyed these tips and tricks featuring the Cameo Silhouette for card making. Everything that I used has been listed and linked for you below. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe because I have new videos all the time and I love sharing my creations with you. Thank you so much for stopping by and happy stamping. Bye.